Hi everyone. My name's Evan Greenwood. I've come all the way from South Africa. I've been invited here, and it's a great honor. This festival looks absolutely amazing. I just arrived here this morning, so I might be a little tired. So if you could forgive me for any repetition or umming and ahhing, that'd be great. I work on this game called Broforce. It's playable. Oh, thank you. It's playable down there. It's a thing we've been working on for several months now, among getting distracted by prototypes and doing crazy Ludum dares and having a lot of fun.
I don't know what I'm doing. Holy shit. It just got squished. That's awesome.
So these are some of the videos.
Stand here, yes. Indeed it works.
In response to making this game playable.
Somehow I detonated all this over here. That's kind of fun. I think that was the first I heard. That's almost racist. Oh, that is, what a treat. What a treat.
Okay, so these are really awesome responses that we got to the game. It's not all laughing, but I wanted to draw attention to that fact because in the game there aren't any kind of scripted jokes. There's nothing that would fall under the kind of way you narrate humor like you do in movies or even in kind of classic humorous games like Day of the Tentacle and Monkey Island. So we've made this thing that makes people laugh, but it's not something that's being, I feel, it's not something that's been covered too well in the current discourse about video game humor. And this kind of surprised me. So I kind of want to coin this term, because coining terms is fashionable, emergent humor. I don't know, that might not be the right thing to call it, but I think it's a useful distinction to make. I think it's useful to distinguish between humor that can exist in other mediums like film and stories, and then humor that can only actually happen in games, because this kind of humor comes out of the rules of the game itself, and the players playing it are creating the humor through participating with the game. And what's really exciting about this is that every player has this narrative forming through playing the game, but the narrative's also got these jokes in it that, well, apparently they find funny. And I think that's really, really exciting. But I wanted to just look at humor a little bit by itself, and why I think humor in a game or any setting is really, really awesome. I suppose asking why we should make funny games seems a bit redundant. Everyone likes humor, after all, provided it's not offensive or silly. But humor does some really great things. When people laugh, when they receive a surprise that they find funny, it triggers the human reward system the same way as doing something awesome in a game, or beating a really, really hard challenge. It's the same reward system that triggers. So it's really, in a way, a kind of fun that isn't discussed too much in terms of the way we talk about fun in video games. Humor has also, it's been researched a fair bit in the field of teaching, in the field of education, and it's been found to have some remarkable effects on classrooms and students. It focuses attention, it increases motivation, people learn better after they've heard something funny, it relieves stress, and it makes people bond. It actually makes people like each other more. And I think that's totally awesome. The other thing is it releases dopamine, and I found out what I think is quite an interesting thing about dopamine recently, which is that dopamine literally is motivation. When we talk about receiving a reward and making a big achievement, we think about chemicals in the brain being released. But in fact, dopamine triggers as soon as you anticipate a reward. It's actually the thing that causes us to want to do something, to try and pursue this goal, this challenge. And so laughter, being able to release dopamine, just making people more motivated, it can both be a reward in itself as well as a thing that triggers people feeling good about what they're doing, feeling focused and enjoying themselves. I think that's absolutely awesome. Some more footage of Broforce in case the last footage didn't make sense or was very short. Really what I'm drawing attention to here is everyone's kind of laughing. And
I want your bro children.
I'm not sure that that's very clear, in fact.
Grenade in the right. Shoot anything. Grenade. Oh, no. I'm gonna do it. Right. This thing's all blowing up. There's a guy's name down there. Oh, sweet, let's go. Yeah, but this guy's across it. Cheers. It's only gonna shoot you.
But it's easy for me to say you should all make funny games and it's awesome because it makes people feel better, it makes them like each other more, it makes people deal better with their lives after they've been laughing, and it's had research that's shown that in fact it has healing benefits. But humor is of course really tricky. I'm somewhat surprised that people laugh as much as they do in Broforce. There's a lot of kind of these, I suppose there's humor there that people might not agree with if they've got different information to us or the people that do find it funny. So really, kind of what I want to say is like humor is really, really subjective, and you've got to know your audience, and you really want to make a game that doesn't piss people off or just leave them feeling confused. So really, it's very, very, very subjective. So, well, I mean, I think I've made it clear that I think all humor is really badass. But I think there's certain advantages in emergent humor that you don't get if you were to script it or play a sequence of events that leads to a funny conclusion. I think the fact that emergent humor is part of the gameplay, that people can be playing this game, they can be enjoying it, and the humor doesn't stop them and say, look at this segment, look at this narrative, this witty thing, and they can still end up laughing despite that they're just continuing playing. It doesn't interrupt them at all. The fact that they are causing the humor, that they might feel more agency in that, that's super awesome. Another kind of, I suppose, subtle thing is that it really works well in Let's Play videos. There's a lot of like YouTube presence at the moment, people playing videos, people showing off games to fans of theirs. And emergent humor really works well there because you're not giving away a storyline that would ruin the surprise for someone else because it's your unique story as you're playing. And of course it's well suited to multiplayer play because again it's not interrupting anyone, it's not putting in roadblocks. So people who are really in it to play a game together and enjoy the story that they're creating, it just gives them that. And they can enjoy themselves as well as get the humor. So some practical advice, I hope. And I'm trying to give it in sort of 3 points, because that's a good number of points, I guess, to explain anything to anyone. As well as do a lot of practice, because of course nothing comes easy in video games. Everything you got to try a million times before you get the right thing right. So I'm saying surprise is a crucial factor, and I'm going to get into that. And of course Emergence, which is this wonderful video game and game concept, and Incongruity. I think I've got a video now. explain something.
So I got to one terminal, but there's
This
two
is
more on the cell,
gunpoint.
and there's a lot of different ways to get to them. But I'm going to show you the most complicated one I know. If I wire this elevator to this light, then when I arrive, it will turn the light off. And it'll also open this door. Then the guard on this floor will go to the light switch, but instead of turning the lights back on, it's going to turn off the lights on the lower floor. The guard down there will try and press his light switch, and I want that to shut the door. And you'll see why in a sec. So arrive on the floor, the lights go out. Guard goes to the light switch, but it doesn't work, so he just patrols the dark area and walks through the door just as the guard on the lower floor reaches his own light switch, which shuts it, locking him out. And that leaves me free to hack this computer without being shot. It's pretty simple, really. When I discovered that solution, my friend Craig was in the room, and I made a bizarre noise, and Craig said, "Did something emergent just happen?" And I said, "Yes."
So that's Gunpoint by Tom Francis. It's of course a very complex game, and if you read Tom Francis's writing, he talks about emergence a lot. He really loves this concept. He loves making games where players surprise themselves and surprise the designer and do things that no one anticipated. Emergence it's a really big thing to explain in a couple points. But I mean, I just like to say when someone says emergent in video games or games, I think they generally mean a complex situation, a gameplay situation that arises due to relatively simple game rules. So the rules interact in a way that causes the situation to be far more complicated than just the rules that govern it. And I think Jesse Schnell gave some useful advice, which I've paraphrased and I perhaps distorted horribly here. But when you're making a game, if you want it to be more emergent, which is great in itself, it doesn't even have to be funny, because emergence is wonderful. It's super fun. It means you can explore the rules of the game and as a player do interesting things that aren't dictated by simple, like, you can do this kind of rules. So when you're adding something to a game or designing a verb, something that something can do, always think about what else could this do? How could it affect something else? How can these things interact with each other? And if you're doing that and you're making these rules broad enough so that they can affect the whole game world, not just the one thing that you're doing, then you start to find these situations where emergent things happen. Here's another video of Skyrim. So he's stealing all of their stuff. And there's no sound there, but he says, "Hey, you stole something," when the pot fell off. That's quite, I think, a famous example of, like, I guess, emergent gameplay, but emergent gameplay the designers probably didn't intend. It's because it's got this broad rule of how the characters in Skyrim have to actually physically see something in order to notice that you're stealing from them, and also this thing that their heads are wonderfully shaped to have pots put over them and rest there. And so Randy Smith, who was the lead designer on the Thief series, he said this thing, which I'm going to quote here because it's awesome. "The spirit of emergence is unpredictability. The player will wind up in situations they did not expect. They will find solutions you did not foresee." And so it's really, emergence allows for surprises that are really kind of special and surprising. And the other great thing about surprise is, humor is very closely tied to surprise. If you know the end to a joke, you're not going to laugh. You have to be surprised. It has to be a twist on what you're expecting. And so emergence allows for humor to be made in this way, because it also allows for surprise. And then the thing that you're doing is that if you're trying to make something funny due to emergence, what you don't want is the direct action that the player is making to be something funny, like it plays a funny sound effect or it does something absurd. What you really want is the consequences, the interactions between things to be the things that are funny. You want to place all the humor on the consequences, because those things will have the capacity to surprise players because they will be far enough removed from the original actions. I think I got one more
The
video
dust
here.
on that one.
What?
Oh, here we go. This is gonna be good. Come on. Oh, we are. Wait. Oh, he's moving his arms. Shit! Oh yeah, it looked painful. Oh shit. Oh, ooh. I am not making too much progress. Shit! Oh my goodness! What happened to his leg there? That was weird. Oh, I'm running backwards. That sucks. Set a personal best in the wrong direction, though. Might as well take that for what it's worth. Oh, here we go. Oh shit. What is there any kind of strategy to this? I can kind of run backwards, but that's about it. I can't go past 1.4 for anything. This Q-op, fucking codename the robot's asshole, is probably impossible. I don't think. Oh, actually, this is looking pretty good. Oh yeah, this is the technique right here. This is how it's done. Now this is truly a flawless running stance. Oh yeah, this is good. This is how I'm gonna approach this. Going for gold. Oh shit. Oh shit. No, he's on his knees! Oh my. Yeah, that looked painful. Alright, here we go. I'm trying the same technique. As a wise man once said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Well, I have yet to take the first step, but I sure as fuck am making some progress by this stance. This is crazy. Uh-oh. Damn it.
So that's obviously Quap by Foddy. What I think is really absolutely brilliant and perfect about this game is it's firstly it's got these simple rules where you really just have 4 buttons and you affect the rotation of the limbs just using those 4 buttons, and then a physics system that then produces all these kinds of funny situations where you land on your face or on your back or your limbs twist around the wrong way. And what is great, what makes this funny is that the visuals and the context of this game look like a serious athletics simulator. It looks like a game that would take itself seriously. It says, there's no funny music. It plays it straight, but then the physics system causes these ridiculous things to happen that would never happen if that was a person running. So the rules subvert the context that the visuals are creating, and the rules are incongruent with the context that the visuals and the setting create. And I think this is kind of a approach that, this is a lot like what we do in Broforce. There's some serious music, there's realistic sound effects, and then there's suicide bombers that run off cliffs and die. And I think this is, if you look at a lot of the funny, the reason why the Skyrim thing is so funny again is it's a super serious game, but then putting pots on people's heads really doesn't work with that. It doesn't make any sense. And that's kind of what surprises us and makes us laugh. And I think there's probably other ways to get humor emergently, but this way really seems to work. And if you're trying to do this, probably put in a lot of practice and a lot of prototypes, because failure is winning. So in conclusion, emergent humor is humor that the player gets to be a part of, and I think that's really special. It builds an intrinsic narrative. It allows the players to tell the story themselves of these ridiculous things happening. And laughter is this powerful thing that has healing benefits. It allows people to bond. Like the emotions that they receive in the game are going to carry with them, hours later. And I think it's really great. Like I feel proud that people seem to be happy playing my game, because then I know that they're going to exit that and they'll be able to deal with their life a little bit better. They're going to be calmer and have had a good laugh. It looks good on YouTube, and it's also, I guess, this thing that's quite uniquely suited to indie game development. As soon as you've got these high fidelity art assets and these realistic, serious kind of settings, it's hard to make the amount of interactions and complexity that you need to get these really interesting emergent situations. So for indies where we can make things happen faster and add complexity without worrying about facial animations and all this kind of stuff, it's really great for us. And I think there's a whole lot of stuff that can be explored there still. I think making funny games at all, and even if they're scripted or in any way funny, it can improve your players' lives, and I think that's great. That's all.